Hey world, so I've got a bit of a random video for you today. Basically, Ariel Bissett, who I adore a lot and who always brings up books that I really end up enjoying, she recently made a video about 10 books that she's really excited to read but that she hasn't heard anyone talking about or that don't get like much attention. And basically throughout the entire video I thought, you know what, I've read some bizarre, random, unheard of books that I really like, that I wish more people knew about. And you know what? I think Ariel would really like some of those. I think we have a similar taste in books. So basically, I bring you 10 more books Ariel would like or should read. I like the idea while I was watching her video, but now it sounds a bit weird. But anyway, here are 10 books that are unpopular, unheard of, just a little bit off or weird or random or just, you know, not that huge. And yeah, I think Ariel would like them, but I also think some of you might like them. I know that I enjoyed all of these books a lot, so I thought I'd just share them with you. Here we go. The first one is a really recent one. It's How to Stay Sane in an Age of Division by Elif Shafak. It's a really short one. It's a bit about Corona, but it's also, yeah, it's about what we can learn about humanity from this situation and how we should stick more together as humans, as people. And it's a lot about like sympathy, empathy, just the human experience of connecting to other people. And I thought it was really interesting. There were some great points made and I just really enjoyed this book. Then we have this beautiful book. This is Hanami by Naoko Abe. I'm not quite sure. This is about cherry blossoms. It's a book about cherry blossoms. I'm gonna be completely honest with you here. I haven't read the entire text. It is quite interesting. It's about like Japanese and English cherry blossoms and how like they migrated and things like that. But mostly it's just really beautiful. There's just like really gorgeous pictures and illustrations of old cherry blossoms, and it's just really pretty. And yeah, it's just a gorgeous book. And if you also happen to like cherry blossoms, then you should pick it up. And it's just, yeah, it's just really pretty. It's just a really pretty book. That's all I can say about it. Next one is Lovecraft Country by Matt Ruff. I remember when I first read this book like 3 or 4 years ago, it left such an impact on me, and it keeps coming back to mind. It keeps showing up in my memories because this book really impressed me. Basically it's about a black family in America, and I think it takes place right after separation is abolished. So technically they aren't suppressed anymore, but yeah, obviously they still are. And it's like short stories about each of these family members. So you're with the son at some point, and you're with the aunt at some point, and you're with the mother at some point, and you always get that story, and it's not necessarily impacting the others, but obviously because they're family they are all connected. And they get weirder and weirder in the sense that they actually start quite realistically and then drift more and more into magic realism and kind of almost a gothic sense of writing. And I did not expect that, and it really just, yeah, it really fascinated me. Also, obviously, the topics of racism are well introduced and are really creepily obvious, especially in the later ones. So definitely recommend this book. I have another short one. I think this has like 100 pages or something. Let me just check. 150, okay. 150 pages. And the original title was Like a Mule Bringing Ice Cream to the Sun. A mule bringing ice cream to the sun. Need I say anything more? Isn't that just a fantastic title? But basically it's about this older Nigerian woman living in America, and she's like full of life and full of color and so energetic and has like this really vibrant life even in her old age. But then she falls and she has to go to the hospital, and then she has to go to an old people home for a few weeks, and yeah, it's not what she wanted and it's not the person she is, and she suddenly is like old and boring and she doesn't enjoy it. And it's also about like the people who she has influence over in her energetic, charismatic life, and how they react to this and how they react to this change. It's just like a really nice short story about the energy of living. And it was funny, it was sad, it was really interesting because the author is also American and Nigerian, so she brings in some of her own experience, and yeah, it's just a really good book. And it has a great title. Another one with a really great title. Oh, this is so bizarre. This is so bizarre. The title is The Sound of a Wild Snail Eating. And that's what it is. Again, just look at this book, it's so tiny. Again, this is the German version, but it's so tiny, it's so cute. And it's literally a woman who is sick in bed for a year, and in the flower pot next to her bed that her friend got her, there's a snail. So she's watching the snail and she's listening to the snail eating. It's literally the sound of a wild snail eating. This book is so fantastic. Obviously it's not that exciting. It actually does get a little bit boring at times, but it's just so charming that I couldn't put it down. So I think that's saying something if I read an entire book about a snail eating. Next one is The Just City by Jo Walton. Another book that I've read, I think I've read this like 10 years ago. It's been ages and it's still in my memory. And I can't really describe it. I can't really like tell you that much about what it is about, because I think it isn't that much about the story, it's more about like the philosophy in the story. But I'm just gonna read you the back. Here in the Just City you will become your best selves. You will learn and grow and strive to be excellent. Facts for travelers. Name Callisti. Nickname The Just City. Population 10,000 children, 300 philosophers, Socrates, Athene, an unknown number of robots. Languages, Classical Greek, Latin. Location, Atlantis. Climate, Mediterranean. Government, philosophical monarchy. Religion, Hellenistic pagan with on-site gods. Sports, wrestling, running in armor, archery. How to get there? Read Plato's Republic and pray to Athene, or be a 10-year-old, or be a god. How to leave? You can't. It's just, doesn't that sound amazing? Yeah, I just really enjoyed this book. It did so many new things that I haven't read before, and the characters are really interesting. And yeah, just read the book. Just please read this book. Next one is another one that's quite recent. And now that I'm holding it in hands, I think I might have even gotten the recommendation from one of Ariel's earlier videos. So if she's already read this, well, okay, but maybe you haven't. So this is, oh, let me just check if the English title is the same one. I hate it when they do English translations for English titles. This is Kim Yu-wong, and it's written by Cho Nam-yu. Basically, it's about a Korean woman. It's just about her life, and I don't want to spoil that much because I really think it impacts you more if you don't expect what's coming. So just let me preface this with, it is about a normal woman's life in Korea, but her way of life doesn't stay normal. There's some bizarre things happening. And it's just really interesting because, let me just find it. There are like these footnotes every now and then. You probably can't see this, but basically in the book there are footnotes that let you know that something happening in her life is actually really happening to Korean women. So there's like statistics, there's certain reported cases. So it is quite a feminist novel in the sense that it does point out actual discrimination of women in Korea, and I think also like just in general a lot of these things also happen to women all over the place, but this is specifically Korea. And it also intertwines her story with the story of her, I think her mother, her grandmother, her sister. So there are all these different women in their lives and what they did in their lives. And it's just really fascinating. It's quite frustrating to read as a woman because, as I said, it does deal with the discrimination, and a lot of the cases that were shown and a lot of the examples that were shown are things that I or other women in my life have experienced and that just are really frustrating and sad and unfair. But I think the book deals with them in a really, really interesting and new way. So definitely recommend picking this up. I have another one with an amazing title. The Particular Sadness of Lemon Cake. Again, I picked this up because of the title. I have the German version. The translation is actually the same. So The Particular Sadness of Lemon Cake is not about lemon cake, as you might imagine. It's about these siblings, a sister and a brother, and they have quite a difficult childhood, and there's a lot that's like not quite right, and she mostly notices, and she also starts to notice some magical elements in herself and later in her brother. And honestly, read this book without reading the back. Don't read the back, don't read any blurbs, don't read anything about the subject. Just go in and read this book and be open to all the bizarre magic that you will experience. It's just, again, the ending of this book, I think about it so much, and I've read this book 10 years ago. Most of these books I've read like ages ago and they just stick with me, and that's why I want to recommend them. This is Mr. Glass, or I think the English title is just Glass, by Alex Christophe. And Mr. Glass, Günther Glass, is, because it works so well with his last name, a cleaner, a window cleaner for really big buildings. It starts with him as a younger boy, just getting into the world, becoming an adult. So it actually shows a lot of his life and how he got to be a window cleaner. And I think that this is one of those books that Ariel would really enjoy, because it sounds like such a boring topic, reading about a man who is, for most of the stories, in his like 30s to 40s, being a window cleaner. Like, that doesn't sound that exciting. But he then gets involved in some form of terrorism because of the windows he's cleaning, because of like the buildings that he's cleaning, and he basically becomes like a James Bond of window cleaners who has to stop the terrorists from attacking the building where he is cleaning the window. Oh, it's so hilarious. It's so stupid, but in the best way possible. It's so funny. And yeah, I just really enjoyed this book. And the last one is a graphic novel. Obviously, I had to get a graphic novel in here. It's the graphic novel for The Wizard of Oz. And it's, oh, let me get this right. The illustrations are by Scotty Young, the author is Eric Schenauer, and it is translated into the German version by Bernd Kronsbein, but it obviously is originally an English version. It's a Marvel comic, and it's just so gorgeous, but it's also like a really dark adaptation. Like, look at this. This is all taking place in the Emerald City, like here. This is all in the Emerald City, and it has this like dark green color all over the entire panels. I think that's really cool. I personally love fairy tales, but I also think that this one can be read by people who don't know the story of the Wizard of Oz, because it does bring some new elements into it that only work in this adaptation. And yeah, I just think the art style is so gorgeous, the colors are beautiful, and yeah, just beautiful, beautiful graphic novel. These are my 10 random books that I personally really enjoyed and would hope that more people enjoy as well. And as I said, I made this basically as a response to Ariel Bissett, because I do think most of these books would be up her street. So Ariel, if you happen to actually watch this, maybe let me know if you do pick up one of these, or if you've like actually read some of these. I think they'd be really cool for you, and I also think they'd be really cool for anyone else watching. As I said, most of these books I've read ages ago, and they just really impacted me, and I remember them for being bizarre but brilliant. And just really special. So please let me know if you do pick up any of these books and what you think of them. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this little random video. And I hope you always have a reason to smile, and I shall see you soon. Bye!